Welcome to the Pocatello Business Podcast, the only Pocatello podcast focused on providing profits for Pocatello people. If you love our town and love small business, you are in the right place. We interview local legends, learn business, and have way too much fun doing it. You're listening to the Pocatello Business Podcast with your friend, host, all-around great guy, and owner of New Clean Commercial Cleaning, Spencer Ward.
All right, everyone, we are back again. Microphone is tuned up, and we are here with Aaron Kirkham. Aaron, say hi to everyone.
Hey, how's it going?
Doing good. Perfect. Aaron is owner and consultant of Kirkham Castles. He was born and raised, though, in Pocatello. We know the Kirkham name. We know the Kirkham family. We know even the Dell's Outdoor Advertising, our sponsor. Good family, good name. He went to Century High School, went on to ISU, and he was even Benny the Bengal. So if anyone has the school spirit and the Pocatello pride, this is the guy.
Oh, man, brother.
So, man, it looks like you've had many different jobs in marketing, going from Amazon sales managers to marketing and operation managers to. So you recently just graduated. You got your Cornell's certificate program, right?
Yeah. The Cornell's they essentially has a certification program in hospitality marketing, and I decided because a lot of my industry, there's not a lot of education or licensing that's really required. And so I wanted to get educated because I know education's important, as well as a differentiator. And boy, Cornell's got an amazing program that, you think you know things, and then you get the smartest people in the world that are teachers at Cornell, and they just open your mind. So it was a wonderful experience for me.
I love it. There's never end to education. If you're only taught by yourself, you're being taught by a fool. So that's right.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to me.
I feel the same.
I'm not the smartest crayon in the box, so let's just go that way. Well, before we get into it, I do need to take that sponsorship time out from Dell's Outdoor Advertising, from your cousin Rob. And these guys, man, like I said, 71% of commuters remember messages they've read in billboards, and 32% of them make a buying decision within 1 week based on a billboard message. That's incredible.
Yeah.
I currently have a billboard up with them on 4th and Clark for New Clean, and I recently just got a sell from it, and I know it's a sell just from that billboard because I have a trackable number on that billboard. That number is nowhere else besides that billboard. So I know when it calls in, it's from that billboard. Boom, I can track that sell, and these guys are doing me a solid. So if you want to get a hold of Rob,
a story on so for a long time I actually ran Dell's Outdoor Advertising.
Nice.
For about 3 years, and to speak about how effective it is, we actually had a gas station that is out towards the McCammon area that we put on, and then within a week they called and said, "We are so grateful to have that billboard because people obviously want to come have our pizza." Because at that time there wasn't anything. So I totally know, and I can also testify billboards are the way to go.
Well, that plus even Kent Oram of ICCU gave you guys a raving review because they said that's how ICCU really grew a lot is with billboards support. So call him today, people. Get yourself on a billboard. I promise you. What is it? Just you can sign up for a few months and give it a try. But if you think you're going to get in for 1 month, you're going to see great results. No, come on, be realistic. Give it some time.
It's a long haul game.
Yeah. It's more of top of mind awareness, people. So call Rob today at 232-6886. Again, 232-6886, area code 208. And if you sign up for 3 months, he is giving you a free installation or your first month for free if you mention the Pocatello Business Podcast. So that's a heck of a deal, guys. Don't let it go by. But now back to Aaron. Aaron, you brought up a good point. This podcast is about providing profits for Pocatello people, and you have an exemplary business that'll help them do that. So let's talk about Kirkham Castles and what it is, and then let's go from there.
Yeah, totally. So, I mean, basically Kirkham Castles, what we do is we are a full-on hospitality company that we provide spaces for people to stay. I mean, for lack of a better explanation, we have Airbnbs all over the place where people can stay. Airbnb is one of 15 different platforms that we use. It is one of the more popular, but it's a great way, and that's actually why I reached out here on the podcast. It's a great way for anybody who has any sort of room, home, or whatever to provide a profit for yourself. And to kind of tell our own story, I mean, we started, I worked in Mexico in marketing, kind of in the hospitality industry in Cozumel, Mexico for a while. Then we decided to come back to the United States, and we bought a home. Well, actually at the time we were property managers at a complex. And so we bought a home with the intention of moving in. We flipped it, and we noticed that the rents in our own place were just skyrocketing. So we said, well, let's long-term that. We bought another home that was a little bit larger, kind of with the intent of renting out the basement. Very typical, what a lot of people consider. And then a friend just said, why don't you just try Airbnb? And so just like a dummy, I just was like, okay, I'll try anything once, just about. We had this one room that we made into a studio. It's got everything that it needs in our own home, meaning that they would come through our front door. And within 24 hours, we had 8 bookings.
Wow.
Our first month, we made $700. A few things to caveat all that. It was October, so it's just the beginning of ski season. Our pricing wasn't as aggressive as it probably should have been. But, at the time, we were so happy to make anything because we were expecting nothing. And then from there, we converted the other side of the basement into another one. We converted our long-term into it. And then from there, we managed for other people. And now we have 15 properties, which technically today it'll be 16 because we're about to sign another client in 3 different states: Utah, Idaho, and Washington.
Very cool. That's awesome. So you're saying you made a good point there that your first home, I believe you said first or second home, but you said that they were coming through the same door that you guys were to live.
Yeah.
So I'm sure there's people out there that are like, okay, how does that work?
Totally.
My wife,
I mean,
my wife says,
so
what's
to
happening?
keep it simple, I mean, we essentially just have a keypad lock on your door, and you just through whatever software it is, you can direct people and say, this is your space and this is what it is. And, some people, they have signs in their home and, this is where you put your shoes. This is your room. On their doors, they will have, guest room kind of concept.
Yeah.
But, at first my wife was super nervous, like anyone would be. You're letting strangers into your house from a little box that, if you were, if the pioneers ever could hear any of this, they just would think all this is ludicrous.
That's
or
right.
if you're in today, you'd think it's ludicrous. But what we did is we put a camera system in so that my wife would feel a little bit more secure. We even had one of those motion detector buzzers things as well, which we never used, and nor do we use the camera system. And what we found is you make more friends than you do meet strangers, because these people come in and, some people are real talkative and they want to talk about their trip and stuff. And it's kind of fun to get to know people from all over. And other people, hey, and then they go downstairs and that's it. But it's a really cool experience to meet. At one point in one of our homes, it was actually really cool. It has 3 different units or places in it. We had someone from 3 different continents in that house. Wow. Which we had Australia, South America, and North America, which is just kind of crazy, Yeah. But it was a really cool, and some of them talked amongst each other and stuff, and it was a really cool experience in the end.
I like it. So what's the typical stay for one of these rentals?
It depends. It depends on the unit. For 1 to 2 bedrooms, it is generally 2 to 3 days, whereas larger homes, 3 to 4, even 5 or 6, it is probably an average between 4 days.
Okay.
And it obviously just depends, because a great example, some of the best units that we have as far as high occupancy, meaning that there's a lot of people in there, are studios / 1 bedrooms, because there's just such a wide clientele base. There are people traveling across the United States. There's business people. There are grandma and grandma coming to visit their kids. There's the nomads, people in van life that just want a place to shower. So there's so many people for those studio places that those have high occupancy. But since they're smaller, they're more economical, the margin isn't as high. Whereas the larger places, pricing's higher, thus occupancy is just a little bit lower, but the margin's a little bit bigger because obviously people are paying more.
Sure. I like it. Now, do people, if they're thinking about doing something like this, do they have to alter their insurance plan currently that's on their home, or is that somewhere you guys come
Yeah,
in?
so I mean, it depends. For the most part, the most common platforms, Airbnb, Vrbo, and what they have is they have a protection policy or an insurance policy that protects you up to a certain degree of things. Now, I will say, like all things, it's a form of insurance. And so it's not a guaranteed thing. I mean, you do have to go through the steps, and there's the possibility of getting denied on a protection plan claim. Mm-hmm. But if you do go full on into it, there are short-term rental insurances that are out there that obviously they have a little bit higher premium than a traditional home. But the whole intent is to protect your property against, major damage, which of our 15 properties, we've never had anything like that. We've only had 2 parties of 80 people at one house. And, at first, that's kind of scary. But I mean, really what it was, in both circumstances, is at 10 o'clock, we have cameras on the exterior of the home, not on the interior. And we just kind of got a lot of notifications of a lot of traffic. So, obviously you could see that a group of 8 is now not 8, it's more than 8. And so what we've done in those circumstances is you zip down there and, hey, who's the person that made the reservation? Hey there, Jason, this is not 8 people, you need to leave now. And if not, you're trespassing and we'll have to call the police. And it's amazing when you use the P word, how fast people start to pour out of a house.
I like it. I like it.
So and granted, I will admit in those 2 instances, it was right when we were beginning our management. And so I now see the errors that we made in it. And we've employed now in that same home, there's a noise software. It's called Noiseware. And what it does is it measures the decibel level in the home, so that if the decibel level gets over a certain amount, it notifies us, indicating that A, they're too loud, or B, there's a possibility that there's a lot of people in there. That's a lot of sound. And it essentially, they call it, and then there's another one that we're still considering. It's called Party Squasher. And what it is it measures all of the devices that are within an IP address. And so if it goes over a certain, and it's not people that log onto the Wi-Fi, it's just, it pings the phones, pings devices, and it can find how many that there are. And, as soon as it goes over a certain level, it notifies you, and then you can start solving the problem. We haven't employed that one just because we have found ways around, the Noiseware has helped, as well as, we're just more upfront with people, as in, this is a cool home. We realize that it is a bona fide castle on the inside. That doesn't mean that you can have a ginormous party, and these are the repercussions. And people are a lot more understanding just because we've improved communication.
Sure. Well, good. So if someone has a home that they're wanting to start, doing some of this stuff with and making some extra money on the side, do you guys cover more states than the 3 you mentioned, or is it just those 3 for now? Or
yeah, I mean, we're very much open to just whatever opportunity arises. I mean, essentially, oftentimes what people really want to know, and I mean, for those who listen to the podcast, so how can I do this? So, I mean, the easiest way is first, have your dedicated space. If it's a room, if you presently have a long-term rental that you want to switch to a short-term rental, find whatever that space is. Another example of what people can do is RVs or Airstreams. If you put those in backyards, those are very common and popular as well. For another way, if you're like, I want to do this, but I don't have anything, but I do have this Airstream that's just sitting on the side of my house. Well, let's get it hooked up. And then on those ones, because it's more of an experience, and Airstream is a very unique niche, you can charge anywhere from about $60 to $80 a night, as opposed to normal units, which would be closer to 40, 45 kind of thing.
Wow.
But first find that space, and then prior to launching anything, just make sure you double check anything and try to find loopholes. Even reach out to other local hosts. There's a number of Facebook groups that I help manage that are specific to states, so that you can network amongst people. Or, I'm happy to, be that sounding voice, free of charge. Just give me a call and I'm happy to walk you through it, talk you through your own space. And from there, essentially you can create that listing and ensure that you have a cleaning fee, because that's very common. A lot of people miss that, but it's an easy way to, one, cover your cleaning costs, and as well as make a little bit of extra revenue, and just go for it. We have on our website, which is presently under construction, but within the next week, we'll have a couple articles there where you can look and get some reference, or you just give me a call or shoot me an email, Aaron at Kirkham Castles, castles with a K.com, and I'm happy to help. And because the reason, and I'm going so much into this now because I'm passionate about it, because it has provided me, I've always wanted to be my own business owner. My whole intent, actually, growing up in Pocatello, I very much wanted to work in my family business. They've got a lot going, and I said it totally makes sense. But I realized that how my family does business is one way of doing business. And so I decided consciously, I'm going to work for other people for the next 10 years so that I can figure out what other types of ways of doing business there is, so that I can find who, what, and where. And in the process, I love real estate. I love people, and the real estate and the hospitality aspect of it has been a perfect fit for me. And we've been able to grow a business that is very easy for a lot of people to do it on their own and to scale it as well. And it's provided a way for me to provide for my family, be a business owner, and still have that liberty to, go help the grandma down the street when the tree falls down. And that's really what I love. And that's my goal, is serving people. And this has been a way to not only provide housing for them, provide income, but also provide the liberty that I can then help facilitate other people in their own dreams, as well as, helping them in their temporal, spiritual, whatever needs it is.
Sure. I like it. I like it a lot, man. I can't think of a better way. 10 years ago, this wasn't a thing. You probably 5 years ago, that this, you'd post this 10 years ago, and people would be like, you want me to do what?
Yeah, it's very, while it existed, it was more of the, the black swan, very niche, unique kind of stays that, whereas, bed and breakfast. And now, in theory, anybody can put up a listing and, stay on your train. It was really funny during the quarantine and the very beginning of coronavirus. I put a tarp over a trampoline that we had in our backyard, and I threw a bunch of toilet paper in there. And as a joke, I just took pictures and created a listing and says, toilet paper haven.
That's fun.
Because there's that scare on toilet paper. So, just the accessibility to do that is super cool.
Oh, yeah.
That's just the same for anybody's space,
Yeah, I like it. Well, first, before we get to the closing of this episode, I need to talk about Pack and Go real quick. Give them a little shout out. These guys recently helped me at my home. We're doing a slight remodel to our home, and they dropped off one of their pods. They come in with a professional driver. They drop it off ground level. They give you all the time in the world to load it, and it's super easy to load. There's no crazy ramps to go up and trip off and fall off. And you load it all up. There's no wheel hubs or anything like that to move around. It's just a flat surface in there. Tie it down how you need it. And then they come professionally haul it off for you. You don't have to worry about one thing. And right now they're storing it for me for a few months while we're doing this remodel. But if you were moving to another location, they'd also haul that to your new home. So nice. I know they do that for commercial and residential. But give them a call. Give Darren a call at 208-339-2229. Again, that's 208-339-2229. Mention the Pocatello Business Podcast. And they do have a free offer for a month free if you sign up for some of their services. So give them a call. So Aaron, as we wrap this thing up again, I know you mentioned where do people to find you, and we'll get to that here in a minute again, just so someone listening on the podcast can quickly reference it. But since you were Pocatello born, Pocatello man, and we need to ask you this question of where was your favorite local food while you ate?
El Heredero, hands down.
Heredero. Okay, there we go. Good institution there. We just went there last week, so with the family.
And I'll be I'll be even more specific.
Okay.
And I like the 5th Street location, probably more so because I know those people a little bit better. And my second favorite restaurant is the taco truck of El Heredero.
I love it.
I got a real niche. I mean, after you live in Mexico for a while, you kind of develop a flavor for something,
Sure. I love it. Well, Aaron, I appreciate you being on the show, but if people want to find you again and want to start this process with you, which is, I think is awesome, provide a little more profit for them, how do they get a hold of you again?
So, I mean, you can reach out to me at our website is Kirkham Castles, castles.com. You can email me, Aaron, Aaron, at kirkhamcastles.com. Or you can just give me a call, 208-252-4123. I'm happy to chat. I realize that, oftentimes people are scared to call because they feel like, because I'm a consultant to some degree, so they feel like they're going to get charged or anything. I'm a normal person. So give me a call and tell me about your dream and let's make it happen. If I help professionally, great. And if not, if I help as a friend, great. It doesn't matter to me one way or the other.
I love it. Providing value. That's all you're doing, man. That's awesome. Well, thanks for coming on the show, and we'll definitely probably have you on the show here in a few months again, and just remind people what this is all about. This is awesome. So
perfect.
Okay, we'll appreciate you, and we'll see you next time.
Okay.
Congratulations on spending a couple minutes getting just a little bit smarter, having some fun, and supporting the Pocatello business community. If you are feeling the love, make sure to subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever you are.